The Heat tickets were given away for the Udonis Haslem jersey retirement. The code word today is Udonis. So if you want to be there at the Kaseya Center when the Heat retire Udonis Haslem's jersey a week from tomorrow, that'll be at halftime of the Hawks game on the 19th, text the word Udonis to 20357. That's 20357. And you might win. You can get all the details at WQAM.com. All right.
The Crowder family will be there.
That's right. Big Udonis Haslem fan, Channing
Yes.
Crowder, in the last 6 or 7 months. Before that, he was a huge detractor of Udonis and his bench spot.
I was on UD and Mike Miller's podcast, and to y'all's point, I didn't pull back. I told him, I was like, yeah, you were just on the bench hanging out. And he said, I told you when I was on the pivot. So he snapped back. He said, what my value to the team was bigger than on game day. I was developmental guy. I was working out, getting Bam right, getting guys right. So we do have a small back and forth about that.
I wish he would have punched you in the face.
I would have curled up and called my attorney.
Do you think that Udonis Haslem, in a fit of anger, both of you, as angry as each other, would Udonis Haslem kick your ass?
Well, answer your question, I think at this point in our life, both of us, because you did get mad and he has a little edge to him, I got a little edge. I think we're to a point where we wouldn't go to that point. But if me and UD locked up, I'll tell you what I tell a lot of people that I'm not 100% confident in a fight when I'm fighting them. We're both going to the hospital. I don't know who's going to win this fight, but we will both be in the hospital after this fight ends.
Seems fair.
Does Crowder still have an edge?
Yeah, I don't think it comes out very often, and I don't think Udonis either. But again, I think there's moments, again, like Crowder said, somebody says in a very, definitive voice, "You fat bitch." You might get him going,
My heart rate has risen, and especially on these planes with people with the little foolishness on planes, because for some reason people let their little balls drop on planes. I don't know what it is and why, but I've had to I do the take it easy. And over the last couple of years, I've stood up and been like, hey man, sit your ass down. And I'll just look at him like, I've never been to the person that doesn't sit down when I tell them to. And if that happens, I think, Solana, to your point, I would still fight, especially if it's about my wife or my kids. I'd still slap the hell out of somebody.
Right. It's the weird thing. And I don't want to relitigate the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett thing, but Chris Rock thing. But I that's something that would get me going. And I wonder if you got hit at the right moment, which Will Smith obviously did. He felt that his wife was being publicly embarrassed and humiliated, where that one, I think you do lose your mind. Will Smith did. I think you do lose your mind in that moment.
For sure, Radio Crowder from 6 years ago, because I get what you're saying. If you're defending your wife or your kids, for sure, I think that instinct is in any human, really. But Radio Crowder from 6-8 years ago, Hawk, I think he had that edge. Influencer Crowder, I don't know.
Well, I think older Crowder, just more mature Crowder, would probably think of the ramifications, because there would be ramifications at this stage in his life. I think younger Crowder didn't think of ramifications. I think a lot of young people don't think of ramifications. So I think that you'd have, as angry as you might get and you might snap, there's going to be some part of your brain, because you're 40 years old now, where you're going to say, even if it's instant, just for a moment, there's going to be a repercussion here for my life at the end of this.
It's what I the reason I tell people, and then the arrest stuff, the college stuff and the arrest, and it's the real answer is when I was 18, 19, 20, if you disrespected me, I needed to now physically gain your respect. So you call the Hawks one. It's funny. At 19, if somebody said, "You fat bitch," I'm going to punch you in the face as soon as I get close enough to you. That's what was going to happen. That's why I got in all the fights, and that's why I fought my teammates. If you called me a name, I'm going to punch you in the face. And Hawks talking about, I never cared about after that fist landed what was going to happen afterwards. Like right now, if I'm walking through Fort Lauderdale Airport and somebody calls me a bitch, I'm gonna look at them and I'm gonna be taken back a little bit, but then I'm gonna think about like what's gonna happen after I knock this dude out. Then the police are coming. Now I'm missing my flight. Now I'm doing this.
You're on YouTube.
Now
like
I'm on
someone's
YouTube.
gonna have video of it.
Now I'm getting talked about on the news. You know, I don't know how big of news it's going to get. If it's going to get national attention. Like it's going to be repercussions to this at a number of different jobs that I have, and I'm going to be reprimanded.
The kids may get booted out of the private schools because there are when you become an adult, there's repercussions. That's why it's for the youngsters.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's why I tell people
I left that life behind, as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I tell people, if you really hate me that much and want to fight, we need to go in a dark alley, no phones, nobody recording, nobody around. It's just me and you, and whoever gets out the end of that alley is the winner of the fight, and I'm going to go home. I won't call the police if I lose. You don't call the police if you lose, and you're going to get your ass whooped. So let your ass get whooped just in peace.
I've said that so many times over the last 20 years or so when I gave up that life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, right?
I got you, player.
Mm-hmm. On behalf of A-Rod's hood, I could also agree with you. It's funny, though. No joke, Crowder. Hawk, you say you're going to end up on YouTube. It's why I avoid any type of confrontation. I don't want to end up on YouTube and people know that I'm a bitch.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's a whole montage of you on YouTube holding the door for people, and then they don't say thank you, and you mumble under your breath, "You're welcome." There's like a whole montage of that if you look deep enough. All right, let's get headlines here for the 4:00 hour because Plagans is going to join us. Let's get headlines with Alejandro Solana.
Driven by the new Palmetto Ford Truck Super Center. Why buy your truck at a car store? Palmetto Ford. We know trucks. There's so much that I want to get to, but it's Dolphins playoff week, so I will start with the Miami Dolphins. It is going to be cold as hell.
Frigid.
On Saturday.
Somebody texts in, didn't you try and fight a 5'0" guy, 5-foot guy in the Marlins parking garage?
Nope. That was just me tightening him up. That's called a tighten up, Texter. That's called tightening somebody up.
You gave him a little tighten up.
Yeah. You better get your ass back in the Acura before I get really mad. That's just a quick tighten up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Guy was driving a Ford too, but that's when you know it's on. The guy just goes getting that Acura. All right. I get driving a Scirocco, but I'm going to get in this Acura. I'm out. I tap.
Yeah. That road rage is real cute till the person gets out in their 6'3", 250. Get your ass back in the Acura. I wasn't even talking to you. I was talking to somebody behind you.
We have another addition to the No Sleeves gang that will be suiting up for the Dolphins on Saturday. So, Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer, big guys up front.
Mm-hmm.
Teron Armstead has revealed he will be sleeveless as well on Saturday.
Sounds good in theory, tough guys.
Man, he's too old, man. Old people got bad circulation.
Right. You start at a cold position. Like you're already.
He's too old, man. You need
I was
to
telling that to Solana yesterday when you weren't here. You get old, you get cold. Because I'm 54. Just it feels. I think maybe because we've talked about the weather in Kansas City and there's been no sun the last couple of days. I feel like we're living in the frozen tundra the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm wearing a fleece sweatshirt.
That's why them grandmas always got that little shawl over their legs.
Yes. Yeah. Now I get it.
Yep. He too old to do that. Teron. Put on some sleeves
on.
Yeah, man. You don't want to do that to yourself.
Teron, you can borrow my tights if you want.